can hear some of that. The piano's crunchy. Why is the piano crunchy? Well, if we go to Ableton, and you'll be able to see here, let me just click this real quick. So in Ableton, now if I open up the grand piano, you can see it's got a saturator on it. Now listen to what this sounds like when I take it off. Now it gets quieter, but let's actually try to make it match a little bit better. So it gives it some life. And you either like it or you don't like it. And that's your choice. That's your choice. And there's something called an SGA, what's it called? That. SGA 1566. This thing for some reason gives the highs. Do you hear it just cleared? It just cleared the whole entire thing up. Oh, a little too loud now. If it's too loud, I want to put a limiter on, which makes sure that it doesn't get too loud. It says if you get past 0, then don't go farther. It's just too loud. The whole thing's just too loud. So I'll turn down the output. If you take a look at master right here, let's try to make that bigger. You see when it's hitting the very top right there? That's crushed. And now if I turn this off, see how it just turned red? That's no good. That means it went over 0. Okay, so when you with audio, you're always playing underneath 0. As soon as you go over 0, no good. If you're in the digital world. If you're in the analog world and you go over 0, it actually sounds good. That's actually what the saturation does. When it goes over, it applies it changes the way that the audio files are and causes that distortion. But with digital distortion, doesn't sound good. So we want to make sure that we limit that. This really should just be a part of every software ever. Now what I want is I want it to be a little bit louder in my headphones. And then I also want it to be more verby. I want to hear that verb. I want to feel like I'm in a big room. I want to feel like I am. I want to feel like I'm in a big room. So. Okay, so I got it loud enough. I'm going to go now to reverb, and I'm not sending anything yet. So there, I'm sending now to the reverb. It's already got a reverb on it. I'm going to make it pre instead of post, which means that if I turn this down, then it'll still let the sound go through, but post means nothing's coming through. So if you can see here, so you can see I have post right here. Pre lets it come, so pre lets the sound come through, but then I'm fully affecting the sound here by using reverb. Now I don't like that reverb. What I like to do is I go to Max for Live, and I go to Convolution Reverb. Now there's a ton of different, well, I don't know how many exactly, but there's a lot of different convolution plugins. So if you want to use a reverb, convolution is cool because what it does is it models real places, right? So if you take a look here, you know, this says real places, and it's actually got this whole long list of different places. Listen to this. Ooh. That's kind of cool. It bounces back at you. And I'm actually going to make that 100% wet. Which means that what it's doing is then it's saying for this lane of audio, it's going to make sure that it's just only reverb, not the dry sound plus the reverb. It's going to be only the reverb. And so it just makes it a little bit easier to mix, I think. Oh, and I turned down the piano totally, didn't I? That's pretty. Okay, cool. So you can see what's going on here. So we got our sound. It's kind of a lot of trail on that. Can we make it any shorter? Size, decay. Let's make the decay less. So now we're paying attention to how long does the verb last. Right? But if we make it really short, wow, that's really short. I like that. Sounds live. I'm going to turn down the piano now because it's a little too loud in my headphones now that I turned everything up and added the verb and added the saturation to try to, and added the limiter to try to just make sure that everything is not peaking. Ba 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 ba. Okay, so now let's talk about piano. So what we have going on here is we're playing in the key of C, and I've got C's down here, and I'm basically playing the outline shell of the C chord. So the C chord is C, E, G. And what I'm doing is I am, instead of playing that middle note here, I'm just playing octaves with the fifth in the middle, and then up here, then here's the actual real C chord, and then I put a C on the top. So I've got this outline of like this, if you almost think about it like architecture, okay? So you've got these like these columns, these firm columns that are holding everything up, and that's the C's. And then down here we've got this extra column that's, there's space. It feels like there's space here. It's not too crunchy. Or here. Anytime you have notes really close together in the bass, it just, stuff gets crunchy. So what I do is I like to have it be wide open, but then still a firm bass. And then up here, now that makes sense to have these notes close because they're not as low, they sound good. So now I've just got this simple chord. Now what happens if I add this? You could barely hear it. It's not really quite there. But it adds something to it. What about this? That uses the same kind of shape where you can see the very, very top two notes here. Those aren't supposed to work. That's not supposed to work. But when you play all the other correct notes, then the wrong note then it starts to feel like a spice. Then it starts to Pocahontas. Have you ever seen the movie? Colors of the Wind. Okay, so this is using the same chords that we always use in pop music. So in pop music we have 1, 2 minor, 3 minor, 4, 5, 6 minor. That's it. There's nothing else. Ever. Okay? So here's 1. Here's 2 minor, 3 minor, 4 major, 5 major, and 6 minor. The way that I'm playing them is very rudimentary. It's very basic. It's the first way you learn to play a triad. Kind of feels like 50s rock music or whatever, whenever that was. Right? But nowadays that doesn't really make sense. To play it so clean and straight like that, it sounds too basic. So so what I end up doing then is always adding 1 or 2 notes that aren't supposed to fit. So So right here, you can see I've got the bass foundation again. I've got the 1, 5, 1, and then I'm actually playing the triad right here, but then I'm putting the 4th in. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm putting the 4. I should only play 1, 3, and 5, but I'm also adding the 4th. And then when you add another G on top, it's got a feeling. It's got a thing going on. Versus just straight. So it's a little bit something extra. And I think what you'll find is if you feel like as you're playing, you're like, it's too simple, or I just want something extra, or I want that little extra, whatever that is, you want that little extra something, start trying to add notes that don't fit, and then see how that shapes the picture. Now, this is just like cooking, right? You're cooking, you're like, I think it needs a little bit of something. You add spices, right? You add different kinds of spices, different kinds of flavors. You're like, I think it needs something. So same thing with this. Okay, now look at that. My hand is locked up here. Why am I doing that? The whole point of doing that is then I have access to all these other notes. I know where I am without looking. I can play it without looking at all. And the reason why I can do that is because I know once I lock my hand, I know what it feels like to go each note down. So it's a very good system to be able to lock your hand, and then you have more access. You can see that I am moving my thumb here, but my pinky's locked. So I know how to get back to where I need to go to. So I know where everything is because I played long enough to be able to figure it out. But then by locking my hand, it adds that extra level of just tactile clarity, I guess. I feel like it's got too much treble in it, and maybe that's true and maybe that's not, but for me, I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. Boop, boop. Don't trust your eyes ever with mixing. Don't ever trust your eyes. It's one of the biggest things I've learned over the years. I remember there was this one time when I was editing, I was using a Waves EQ plugin, and I was like, okay, it's sounding better, like I got it going, like it's heading the right direction. I was EQing it, I was changing the tonality of the sound, and I was like, this is great, this is better, like I'm so happy. And then I realized that it wasn't even on. The plugin wasn't on. So my brain was making up this idea of it's sounding better, it's changing, it's different, and I was doing nothing at all. And that's just how it is. That's just how it is, that your brain will trick you to think that it's better. If you're looking at the screen and your eyes are getting that feedback of, okay, things are going where I want them to go, or I'm cutting the right thing or whatever. But try your best. If you're getting stuck in that, all you have to do is close your eyes. Just hold down one of the knobs, and you're changing the EQ or whatever, and then just close your eyes and then just listen. You just have to listen. The whole point is you're focusing in on listening. You're focusing in on making sure that you are hearing properly. And that way that you totally take your eye out of it, and then you only can hear it. Now, if you're not hearing any change, then maybe open your eyes and make sure you can kind of turn it way up, turn it way down. I'll actually show you right now what I'm talking about. So we'll add some EQ. We'll go right here. That one's pretty easy to hear. But if I close my eyes, I definitely can hear that. Wow, 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 wow. That's like a wah pedal. When I can hear I'm in the lows now. But that way you get locked into it. You get locked into it properly, as opposed to just, you see something pretty on screen and you're like trying to EQ or trying to fix it with your eyes. And nobody will ever, ever see what your eyes see for your songs. They will only hear. So if you're looking at all, stop looking and let it go. Ba 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 bum ba 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 bum. That's really loud. It's just loud. I don't know why it's so loud. Cut. This, I guess I'll just turn the output down. And I think I have too much saturation as well. I don't need a ton. Now, whenever you get sick of something, you want to move on, change keys. One of the best things to do is to change keys. And honestly, it's really, really valuable if you can know how to play in all your different keys. Keep in mind, we're only playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 chords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minor. So if you're taking that and then you're moving to all these different keys, 1, 2, 3, okay. Now I actually understand that better in feeling than I did when I was trying to explain it, where I'm like, where is it? I'm looking with my eyes, right? A lot of with piano, the piano training is to not look down. Obviously, I mean, you have to. There are certain things you have to. You're going back and forth and reading music and trying to connect it. But I spent so much time just not looking. And so if you find that you look at the piano a lot, then challenge yourself to not. Close your eyes and find the right notes. And if you're doing jumps, right, you can do this with your eyes closed. And you're just getting used to what does it sound like to jump a fourth? What does it feel like to jump a fourth? And that should help you. Always trying to pinpoint, where do I want to go next in my piano playing? What am I trying to do next? And then challenge yourself. Make up a fun little game, or make up some fun little exciting. I need to get away from that. I'm doing that too much. This is a song that's in 7/8, which is weird. Most songs are in 4/4. Bumpa, kappa, bapa, kaka. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, right? Then there's 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there's that. And then there's 6/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. So this is like a back and forth. And then each side has 3. So you got basically 2 triangles, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whatever. Is it 3 triangles? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What I was playing before was 7/8. So now we have 8 slots, but we only have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2. So you're always kind of interrupting yourself because you want to wait for that extra beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? But in the 7/8, you just focus on the top number. Let's just talk 7. In 7, we are always cutting ourselves off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2. So it kind of feels like you're falling forward every time you want to kind of catch your breath. It just kind of like pushes you forward again. Ra ba 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 ba. Now, one really nice method when you're playing piano, one really nice method is to make the melody line in the top and just make it clean and clear. What I do too much is I muddy the water, I dirty, I do too much is just happening. And it's just sometimes nice to just have a single melody line that sings da 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 da. Now that was interesting what just happened there. I was expecting to play the minor, and I ended up being here instead. Now they share the same note. So really it works. And it would work for this one too. So one thing that's interesting about this is that as you shift that bottom platform, right, the bass, where are we? Where's the foundation? Where's the ground? It has a totally different feel. Where are we? Versus this feels more like it's it's the same note. So it's like the bottom came up to where we are. Almost if you want to think about different elevators going at the same time, or maybe with the melody line we're on a specific level and the bottom kind of comes up to us. So first we're here, and then we go and we're matching, and then so the melody note, holding the same melody note, can either be the feeling of a little far away, right locked in, or a lot far away, as those two things are shifting with each other. Now what I'm doing in my I think this is opposite. Let me see. Yeah, that's opposite. I gotta change that. I gotta change that so you can see what I am talking about. How do I flip it? Scaling, aspect ratio, chroma key, color correction. I don't know how to change it. Flip. How do I flip? How do I do it? I don't know how to do it. Well, I guess I'll have to do that later. Once I take a closer look at it. Okay, we're done with that for now. Okay, so basically what's happening is we've got the So what I'm trying to say here is that as you hold that top note, then the bottom shifts, comes up, down again. I guess from your point of view, it's this. So it's just opposite, right? So da, that's this. Da 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 da. All the while holding this, right? So as you're doing that, as those are playing with each other, then it gives the same note a different feeling in the context of the song. So keep that in mind, that when you're singing a note, you're trying to find a new bass note, but you already know what the melody should be. Hold on to the melody note with dear life, and then go through every single bass note and see what it feels like. I did this a lot where I was trying to figure out, I was just trying to figure out where am I going and what am I doing. Minor 5 4 1 6 6 minor, 6 minor, sorry, 5, 4, 1, 2, 4, 5, 1, 2, 4, 5, 1. You make me feel this way, my girl, talking about my girl, my girl. Ooh, ooh. Thanks for being here. You rock. I appreciate you listening to the end. Drop me a message, leave a comment, and I'll get back to you soon. Tell me what you want to know.